We are just roughly a month or so away from the false alarm missile that occurred in Hawaii. Now, originally, I knew in my gut instinct that there was more to this story, and I was like, no way was that a false, no way did somebody push the wrong button. You just don't do that in these programs. But at the time, it was so new that there wasn't much witnesses or anything about it, but now we actually got some witnesses. So I want to thank Michael Landsman for sending me this article via email. Now this is Exopolitics, again by Michael Sala. He put a nice article together, breaks it down very nicely, and basically it's all what I completely thought the whole time. So yes, a missile was used, yes, it was intercepted, but it's not what you think. These people in these secret programs want to get World War III going. The dark, shadowy programs, you know, CIA's got their own shadow government subs, whatever you be, to try to invoke World War III. They want World War III to occur because they like the order out of chaos. But thankfully, it didn't go to their plan. We got people in these programs, in these government agencies that are a step ahead, or more than a step ahead, a few steps ahead of these shadow government people that are trying to instigate this. And thank God that they saw this and diffused it as quickly as they could. But let's go through this article and I'll give my thoughts as we go through. I highlighted some points here. So was a space-based weapon platform used against Hawaii-bound ballistic missile? So now the official story was on January 13th. It was a false alarm that somebody pushed the wrong button and sent Hawaii into chaos. Immediately, like I said, I did not believe that. This stuff just doesn't happen like that. So now here we go. Later on, it's been a month. Eyewitnesses are coming forward. Eyewitnesses continue to emerge saying that they saw a meteorite or something like it exploding high in the sky over the Hawaiian Islands. Only minutes before the alert. Think about that. Minutes before the alert. You're talking more like seconds when you got a ballistic missile incoming. But what are you going to do? That's just the way it is. Furthermore, eyewitnesses claim to have seen a television story about the exploding meteorite or object before the news story was pulled. Very, very interesting. Did somebody make them pull that? Or did they pull it because now the official story was that it was a false alarm? So there was a tour boat that was carrying multiple eyewitnesses that said they saw the exploding meteorite, if they want to call it that. They saw something get blown out of the sky. Missile intercept. I don't even want to say this is necessarily missile to missile. They got some pretty state-of-the-art stuff that can knock missiles out. We'll get into that later here. But I'm going to play this gentleman's account here.
Hey, so my sister has lived in Maui for 8 years, and so what she is finding out is that a group of boaters that actually run a tour company say now that they saw something get blown out of the sky. So they said it looked like a meteor, and then all of a sudden it was a big boom and it lit up the entire sky, and it was 8 o'clock in the morning. So I don't know what to make of that. Maybe this was not a drill after all. Maybe our boys in blue and our boys in green shot it down.
That's what I think, but they don't want to cause panic and say that a missile was launched. And the article is going to break this down even further. But even the comments, Janie here says the sirens are tested every first business day of every month for as long as they lived in Hawaii, but there was no alarm that day. My cousin lived there. She came back to the States because of this, and she told me the same thing, that something was shot out of the sky that morning. Now here we got the news where people are saying they had the news story up and then they pulled it about the meteorite. I did see the video of tourists on the boat, and there was something blown out of the sky, but it was deleted right away. Also, there is more than one button to push. See that video also, and now it's gone. Think about that. I knew right away when they say, oh, we pushed the wrong button, and when it says missile incoming, take shelter, this is not a drill. Give me a break. Another comment. There was a news story and then it cut straight to commercial. I'm skeptic usually, but I did see that myself. So they actually cut the feed on that news story. I don't know why people are doubting this. It was a local news and the feed was cut. At least 10 fellow islanders have commented here agreeing with me. I saw something about it on the news, but it has since been taken down. No surprise there. And she says the news channel had a snippet of this, but is no longer available. A lot of people on the island are saying they saw lightning in the morning of the false alarm. Very weird. The sky was blue as ever. So you're going to listen to what the official story is, or you're going to listen to people's accounts and eyewitnesses. My second article pointed to a rogue deep state CIA faction that may have used a boomer submarine to create a false flag attack, which was intended to start a war with North Korea. They want to get World War III going. They have had this plan for so long to want to get it going. You can bet, and we're going to talk about this more down later, if Bernie Sanders got in there, we'd be in World War III. I know there's some people that are going to hate me for saying that about Bernie Sanders, but he rolled over to Hillary Clinton, and that's all there is to it. Is he going to have balls to stand up to these people? Now here's a quick breakdown of intercept. You got a threat launch, missile up, and then you got the intercept on the other side. But of course, they have a lot more sophisticated stuff in this, and this is going to lead into my topic next week with the boys about, I talk about the California fires, and that's kind of looking like they could have used some different kind of weapons on that. But that's for next week. And it's so perfect because, as he states here, a directed energy weapon on a space-based weapons platform could have the capacity to reliably shoot down a ballistic missile intended to simulate an attack from North Korea. Think about it. You got these shadowy units, you know, a secret navy, if you will, that can shoot a missile from the direction of North Korea to Hawaii, create the intention that it came from North Korea. What's the recourse there? It's going to have to be, all right, launch back at North Korea. This is how they do these false flags. Now here we go into the personnel that actually worked at the Air Force Base. So they talked on a message form, and it created a lot of confusion. They had actually a drill at the same time. Coincidence, they did the same thing on 9/11. They had drills, so there was no jets to intercept. And they point out here, it was only after a request for a military response to the presumed attacker, North Korea, which is what they wanted, when it was declined by the White House, that Hawaii authorities were instructed to say it was all a false alarm. It didn't go their way. Let's shut this thing down and just say it was a false alarm. So here's the exact quote from the form. The false alert was not a mistake. It was ordered. We were informed it was to be a drill, but then all the information was put out that the threat was real. Immediate contact was made to the White House and requests were made for retaliation. I think there was a push to have the White House approve an attack on foreign vessels off the coast. When the White House replied negative and demanded further information, my superiors called Governor David, where he ordered us to contact media outlets of there being a false alarm. One of the governor aides was present and speaking with who looked to be a federal investigator. I overheard them state that this demonstrated weakness in Trump's administration and refused to protect his people. And what do you say? Problem, reaction, solution. David Icke's talked about this stuff a lot. They want to make a false flag attack. How do they react? Another post here, it was literally a drill. All instruments were set up in a test. None of it was real. When the call was made, there was a request to attack vessels off the coast before they could potentially launch additional projectiles. When the White House demanded more information, the call was ended and Governor Inge took over the situation over a separate phone call. Then all info was put out that it was a mistake. Another post here, no clue. I was told it was a drill. Then info was put out it wasn't. Then we were instructed to provide a media statement that it was a mistake until further notice. See, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. You got a real thing going on here, but they're supposed to have a drill. Cause all that confusion. Nobody knows what's going on. In the Hawaii situation, it appears that cool heads at the White House did not order military retaliation against North Korea after the missile was shot down. President Trump and his national security advisors likely suspected that a false flag attack had been attempted. Thank God we got people in there in the higher ranks that know that the deep state is trying to orchestrate this stuff. We can take back our country now that we got people, good people in high places. And we also got police and other authorities are intimidating witnesses into silence. And that was because of an effort to look for residents that will testify against the high altitude object being destroyed. And this is immediately what I thought when I heard them say, oh, it was a drill. And I read that text that everybody's seen. It's like, that just doesn't happen. And it really said, oh man, there's an inside battle going on in the government. You got the good group and you got the bad shadowy group that's trying to provoke this stuff. The cabal is losing and they want to launch these wars, get everything in an uproar again. And they were prepared for it. They knew it was coming. And this reminded me right away of Daniel Inouye. This is exactly what I was thinking about. And as soon as I looked this up, I was like, where was he the senator of? Boom, Hawaii. Synchronicity? Check this out. If you haven't seen it, I'm playing it right now.
A shadowy government with its own Air Force, its own Navy, its own fundraising mechanism, and the ability to pursue its own ideas of the national interest, free from all checks and balances, and free from the law itself.
Pretty convenient. And he came out and said that in 1987, admitting it. From Hawaii, you got a shadowy group, free from checks and balances, working for the cabal, trying to instigate World War III. We know that they always wanted to bring in World War III, cause this chaos, cause everything in an uproar, instead of moving forward as a one whole people like we should, trying to help each other, make everything better. So you take this stuff a step further and think, okay, what if they got the technology and they got this stuff on satellites? Directed energy weapons on satellites, intercept. Pew. I'm going to talk about that next week. Like I said, I got some great evidence I'm bringing forward. But that to me right there is why Trump really isn't concerned about North Korea, because they have so much superior technology. They launch a missile, boom, zap, out. Space-based weapons. This is what I really believed from the beginning. Michael Salla laid this out very nicely, broke it down, and made it very easy to follow. Props to him. And thank you, Mike, for sharing that with me. It really got me thinking again, because it was something that, okay, it's a month later, no one's caring anymore, but no, this is actually really important, should be covered. And when you got dark, shadowy government, different segments of Navy, Air Force that don't have any oversight, that's dangerous. And we're going to, hopefully, this cabal is going down. You can see it already. They're getting scared. That's why they want to launch this World War III, make stuff happen, and really bring scare to the people. But we're on the winning side. You can see it changing. And like I said, stay tuned for next week. I'm covering more energy weapons. It's pretty scary stuff that it's actually now admitted. I'm going to leave you with that little cliffhanger of information. So I'll see you next week. We got the crew. I'm going to discuss that. This is the California fires. Take it for what you will. And we'll catch you guys later.